Hi, my name is Edouard Thoumyre and I've been a headhunter for 12 years now. In headhunting, our job is mostly to do a direct approach of passive candidates who are currently employed. That being said, at ACCUR Recruiting Services, we've decided a long time ago to post our jobs confidentially on our website so that our followers, active candidates usually, can send us their application. Therefore, we have received a very large amount of applications over the years, and we have really seen what works and what doesn't. Especially, we've really seen what weak candidates on the resume can do in order to stand out and make us call them for an interview. And this is going to be the topic of today. 8 tips on how to apply for jobs online and maximize your chances of getting called for an interview. So number 1, have a very clear job hunting strategy. Which basically means you have to be selective. It's almost too classic to be reminded, but to apply for a job you have to be prepared, and you cannot prepare for all the jobs available around you. So pick 1 or 2 types of jobs and industry and really focus on them. Try to do your homework on them and make sure that you can have a very catchy approach and a very customized approach for those jobs. Number 2, don't change everything at once. If you are in the process of changing career, you cannot be changing every single aspect of your career. You have to build on transferable skills from one type of job combination and another. Meaning you cannot change at the same time the company, the type of industry, the type of job, maybe the location or the market you're in charge of. For example, if you're doing marketing for the beverage industry in Miami, taking care of the Caribbean markets, you cannot jump to becoming a banker in New York, or you'll have also a very, very hard time becoming a salesperson for the fashion industry in the US domestic market. So you have to change only one step at a time and switch maybe from one industry to another, keeping the marketing function, or maybe move from marketing to sales within the same industry so that you already know all the environments, but just you have to make choices and you have to have a step-by-step approach on how to change your career. So number 3, as mentioned in tip number 1, you have to be prepared, you need to do your homework. This is absolutely essential so that you definitely convince the decision makers that you know what you're talking about. But essentially you need to show that this idea of applying to that company is not an idea that you got yesterday or this morning coming out of bed. This is an idea that you are committed to, that you have invested time in to get information, get informed, and really build a career plan on. So to do your homework, obviously you need to know the company, you need to understand the job description, but also the objectives that might not be as clearly outlined in the job description. You need to understand what kind of background they're looking for or requiring for the role. And finally, you need to make sure that the skills you provide are really a match with what they expect. Too many times I see people who are applying for jobs where they have absolutely no chance of getting the job, and of course it's a waste of time for everybody. So one thing that is very efficient to understand what type of profile they want for the job is to go on LinkedIn and to try to locate people who currently have the job you're applying for, or people who have had the job before, and look at their career before. What have they done in order to reach that level? What kind of jobs, job titles I mean, and what type of industries are they coming from, if the education is matching what you have, etc. And this way you will really understand how conservative the employer is and what they really like in the end for the job. Also, to understand more about the company, I really suggest that you follow them on a different social media. Of course, their LinkedIn page, maybe their Facebook page, their Twitter account. Try to get an understanding of their values and what they stand for. Therefore, you'll have more discussion material whenever you approach them by email or directly face-to-face. Number 4, act fast and create alerts. Most of the job sites, whether they're Indeed, Simply Hired, LinkedIn, Monster, Career Builder, or many company websites on the career section, for example on ours, you can create an email job alert and receive every morning the new jobs directly into your inbox. Therefore, you can be among the first ones to send your application, and it's obviously more efficient because when you apply a month after the job has been posted, you're very often too late. Number 5, have a very catchy cover letter. So the subject of cover letter could really be the subject of an entirely new video, but I'm just going to focus on a few tips here. The good news is that a formal full-page Word document cover letter is not really expected anymore. It barely exists anymore. What's expected is a quick introductory email of your resume on 5 to 10 lines. But the bad news is that this email absolutely needs to be customized to every single job and every single employer. There's no way around it. You need to get the reader's attention right away, and therefore you must include a few important things very quickly in that email. You need to show you're motivated. You need to prove that you have understood the job description, but also that you have understood the type of requirements and background that they're looking for. Finally, you have to explain how you have the skills and experience matching those requirements, either because you have done a very similar job before or you know that your skills are transferable to that new job. Number 6, complete the entire application process the way it was supposed to. Now you're in front of the job posting on whatever job board and you're ready to apply, you have done your homework, you should go ahead and apply. Even though you may feel that the job posting is on Indeed or on Career Builder or whatever, and you feel that maybe your resume, your application will get lost in the huge amount of application the employer will receive, you should still do it. And if the application process sends you to a series of forms on the employer website, you should still do it. Since you have taken the time, you have invested the time to get prepared, you're committed to that job, fill up the entire application process, because if you don't do that, you might get filtered out by the system managing the applications for that employer. The point that I want to make is that even though you do that, because it's rather quick, even though it might be longer than you thought, you should not stop there, and I'm going to explain now what you should do after you have applied to that job online. Number 7, find the decision makers behind the job posting. If you think just applying on a job board is going to be enough, then this is probably the second biggest mistake you can make in your job hunting strategy, because you will indeed get lost in the shuffle and the competition of all the incoming applications. So you have to go the extra mile, and going the extra mile is very, very much right now after you have sent your resume for the first time. Try to locate the decision makers behind them, and there are usually two types of decision makers: the HR people and the hiring managers. So go on LinkedIn, try to locate those people, get introduced by a common connection if you have. If you don't have a common connection, then just go ahead and email them directly. And in that email, you should refer to the job you have seen online and the fact that you have applied to it, but then tell them that you simply wanted to make sure that your resume won't get lost or your application won't get lost because you're really committed to that job. And then you should add another catchy line showing that you really understand what they expect and the fact that what you have to offer matches what they expect. And we're going on to number 8, which is follow up, follow up, follow up. As I said before, looking for a job online is a sales and marketing approach. And no salesperson just sends a service proposal and wait for an answer doing nothing. It never happens. So it's the same thing for you. Once you've sent your application and once you've sent like a quick first email to the decision makers, what I suggest very strongly is that in that email to those decision makers, you tell them that you're going to follow up in 4 to 5 days, for example. And what do? 3, 4, 5 days after, you do follow up, because you will show them that you say what you do and you do what you say, and that comes across as extremely professional and organized. So when the day comes, instead of sending another email, what you should do is just call the company where the person is. You have the name already, so go through the receptionist, ask for the person in that department, whatever. You'll get the person on the phone. I mean, if you do get the person on the phone, then this is your chance of standing out again, reminding them of the fact that you have sent your application. In our case, when we receive a call like this, we very often just open up the application live, during the call to see how relevant the resume is. If the resume is not 100% what we need, but the person has been so good at approaching us and at following up with us, that person has gained a maximum amount of points. If the resume is really too far, then okay, there's nothing we can do. Preparation was not right and the person had unrealistic expectation to be considered for the job. But that being said, if you don't get that person on the line, then what I suggest is you leave a quick voicemail, of course giving your name, referring to the job that you have applied for, and referring to the email you have sent promising that you would follow up. Then you go back to your initial email to them and you tell them that, as discussed or as promised, you have followed up with them and you have left a quick voicemail because you were unable to reach them, and you remain at their disposal for an interview anytime they want. When you do all of that, you leave traces of your very professional approach and your attitude, and this makes you gain a lot of points. Finding the right candidates for an employer is not only making sure that we have the right skills and the right experience, but it's also making sure we have the right attitude. People who are professional, people who are organized, people who are prepared, committed, and all of that is part of the selection process. And when we consider somebody for an interview, we not only look at the resume and the email introducing the resume, but we look at all the history of exchanges that we've had with the candidate. Just checking that the candidate has been always professional, always organized, and always committed to that particular job opportunity. Alright, so I'm done with my 8 tips for today, and I hope this was helpful. If you feel that I missed anything, or if there's any other topic that you would like us to do a video on, please leave some remarks in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and don't hesitate to share with your friends and connections. Thank you, bye-bye.